until 7:15 for parts of Knox and Whitley counties. Let me actually turn my mic on for the studio. Wait, I don't know if I need that yet or not. Do I need my studio mic?
You're up.
Okay, I'm up on there. Can they hear me back there though?
Yes.
Okay, off the OTT, so I'll just leave my studio mic off. Okay, so new tornado warning if you're just joining us on air.
The National Weather Service in Jackson, Kentucky has issued a tornado warning for southwestern Knox County, southeastern Whitley County until 7:15 a.m. At 6:53 a.m., a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located over inland or near Williamsburg, moving northeast at 75 miles per hour. Hazard, tornado. Source, radar indicated rotation. Impact, flying debris will be dangerous to those caught without shelter. Mobile homes will be damaged or destroyed. Damage to roofs, windows, and vehicles will occur. Tree damage is likely. This dangerous storm will be near Goudsdale around 7 a.m. Hobbs around 7:05 a.m. Repeating, a tornado warning has been issued until 7:15 a.m. for the following county: Knox, Kentucky.
And I'm trying to figure out exactly in Knox County where this is in relation to Barberville. It's still in Whitley County right now, but it will be going into Knox County pretty soon. Okay, so Barberville is not included is what Cameron is telling me off camera here. So again, we're continuing to watch this, but let me put velocity on here real fast because this is something I want to see here. Velocity. Oh yeah, right there it is. Possible tornado right there in this area. I got the wrong tool there. Give me just a second and I'll get that cleared off. But that's where the possible tornado is in parts of Whitley County, and that's pretty strong rotation. It's broad, but it's pretty strong. So let me get the right tool and I'll circle it for you. This is the area of concern that we're watching right here, and we're going to continue to watch that for a little bit. So that is the area of most concern. Let me turn, actually, I've unplugged from the other one. So Evan, if you're back there, go ahead and kind of jump in if you need to. I won't be able to hear you. Just to let me know when you're, if you're trying to jump in here. Let me switch back to my actual studio IFB, so I'll be able to hear you. Hold on just a second. I don't know if we got that audio issue resolved or not, but that's the area that we're concerned about right now in velocity. We've been keeping an eye on that, and we'll continue to keep an eye on that for a little longer, but that is the area that has the most potential there for a tornado. So that's a very serious situation going on over in Knox County right now. So again, let's go back to radar. Get back out there to radar. And right there.
The news tip? Then call the WYMT news tip line.
Not included in this warning, but that goes until 7:15 here, so about another 18 minutes there. So we're going to continue to watch that for you. But that right there, that velocity is concerning to say the least. It's kind of starting to scoot a little bit. Actually, Evan, if you can, I'm going to, hopefully you can hear me, I'm going to put this back on radar. Try to put a track on that and see where it's going next for me. He's taking over. He's going to put a track on that. And I can tell you, it looks like it's going to go basically into northern Knox County based on radar right here. And hopefully we can give you some communities and time that is expecting to hit there in the next little bit. I'll let him take over on radar duties for right now because this is a quickly developing situation. If you are in those counties, you need to be in your safe space right now, especially with that strong rotation out that way. And we'll see exactly where this is going to hit and when. So if you're in Loudon, basically on top of you right now, Godsdale at 7 o'clock, Rain, ironically, there at 7:02, Trosper at 7:07, and Warren at 7:07 as well. So these are going right out there pretty quickly. New warning, Cameron?
Yeah, there's a possible tag.
Okay, where's that one?
Bell, Clay, Jackson, Knox, Laurel, Leslie, McCreary, Owsley, Perry, Whitley.
Okay. Evan, I'm going to take over for just a second on radar because I'm going to zoom out and show you the brand new warning we just got. But just get one more look at this before I switch over to go back to the new warning. But this is not a tornado warning. It's a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag, right, Cameron?
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to go back out to that one. If you're just joining us here, basically the top of the hour, Brandon Robinson, Cameron Aaron, and Evan Hatter here on a Saturday morning, and severe weather continues to work its way through the mountains. Let me switch back over here to my palette and zoom back out just a hair. And we also have, in addition to this tornado warning, we have another one down, or a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag moving through parts of southeast Kentucky there, all the way from, let me put a track on this one, or not a track, a query on this one so we can kind of see what all is included in that. Get a little closer to the line. Come on. Not want to do it for me. All right, but this one goes until 7:30. There it goes. For parts of Bell, Clay, Knox, Laurel, McCreary, and Whitley counties, in addition to the tornado warning that we have over from parts of Whitley and Knox counties. It also goes until 7:15. So we're going to stay with both of these. This is a very fluid situation. I tell you, it's just overlapping there. Those same counties kind of under the gun right now, so we're going to continue to watch this area. We have no other active warnings. All right, all mocks are hot is what I've just been told, so we're going to continue to do that and see what we need to jump in on here. Evan, you're back there kind of looking at radar, and I'm sure Cameron is too. What are you guys seeing on this one?
I'm not seeing much different at the moment. I'm continuing to keep an eye on some of that velocity. In fact, I've got my laptop's got radar scope on it, just a little bit of a different source for us to keep an eye on things as we are now crossing the 7 o'clock hour here on WYMT TV. Of course, we're with you with a tornado warning in effect for Knox and Whitley counties in Kentucky at this hour. Just keeping an eye on things, and right now I'm not seeing anything that would jump out at me. However, that storm does have some broad rotation, at least in the upper levels. And in a scenario which we've got right now, we can easily see that translated to the ground. You see that there not far from the county line there into portions of Gossdale there and Perman, pushing on to the east to the south and west of Barberville. I think that's going to be our focus, south of Dishman Springs at this point, with the potential for a rotating thunderstorm moving into portions of Knox County.
Evan, let me jump in here for just a second. Sorry, Cameron, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I want to highlight something what Evan was talking about there just for a second. And we're looking basically, if I can find my drawing tool, at this area right here. That's the area that we're trying to highlight there. I know that was kind of a hastily drawn circle there, but this is the area of broad rotation just south and west of Barberville that Evan was talking about. So that's the area we're really watching at this point. Cameron, you got anything else right now?
Yeah, the National Weather Service is continuing that tornado warning for Knox and Whitley until 7:15 this morning. They're saying a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located over Gossdale, or 9 miles southwest of Barberville, scooting off towards the east at 75 miles per hour. So that storm is pushing off. Also, Brandon, I want to pass along that the National Weather Service is continuing that severe thunderstorm warning, but they are now calling the damage threat considerable, as winds upwards of 70 miles per hour are possible with that squall line moving through this morning. Not tornadic, but straight line winds. But it doesn't matter if you have tornado or a straight line wind. 70 mile per hour winds are dangerous.
That's exactly the point there, and this is why we continue to be on Facebook and on the air, and we're still on both this morning, and I'm glad because we're actually back here. I'm at the now desk in the newsroom. Evan's in the weather center. Cameron's actually just off to my left, sitting here monitoring things at one of the newsroom desks. So we're continuing to watch this. I'm going to zoom out just a hair. I don't want to go too far out because of the simple fact that we need to kind of keep this whole sector right here at the top of our list, because this is the area we're most concerned about. This is the area that we're really kind of watching at this point, and we're going to continue to watch. A tornado warning in effect for parts of Whitley and Knox counties until 7:15 this morning there. That's the areas there in the red polygon. I'm going to pull myself back up here for just a second. Hold on. Pull my split back up. There we go. So there you go. So that's basically what we're watching right now. We're going to continue to watch that move through parts of the area. We're also going to continue to see the possibility for 75 mile per hour wind gusts, even in the areas under the severe thunderstorm warning with tornado possible tag. And if you have any damage, please report that to us as soon as possible. Now, here's what you can do. If you're in an area with a tornado warning, go to the lowest level of your home, preferably a basement, get into a closet, hallway, or bathroom away from windows. Those folks in that tornado warned county need to be doing this right now. Right now, those two tornado warned counties need to be doing this immediately. go to a hall or a small room away from windows, such as the lowest level there, or on the lowest level. Avoid those large open areas, such as gyms and abandoned vehicles and mobile homes for a nearby reinforced building. In winds up to and past 75 miles per hour, mobile homes are not safe. I'm going to say that because they're not anchored down the way they should be. And they're anchored to withstand some pretty stout winds, but when you get tornadic winds or possible tornadoes, not enough. So again, we also have this tornado watch. It's actually till 9 a.m. I guess that's not the graphic that Evan updated a little earlier, but till 9 a.m. there. Sorry about saying 2 a.m. That's until 9 a.m. just to clarify there. And you see we're going to continue. There it goes. Thank you, Evan. Till 9 a.m. this morning for a bunch of counties along the I-64 corridor, the I-75 corridor, and of course these two counties here, Knox County not even in the tornado watch, and there's an active tornado warning there right now, so we're going to continue to go back and track that for you because a very active situation. Evan, you got anything you want to add real fast?
I have not seen anything new at this time, just watching those two, basically it's two line segments at this point. You have one basically going from Jackson all the way through far southern Kentucky and back into East Tennessee, and then you have the other line segment moving across parts of the northern part of the area. But at this point, nothing is jumping out to me that's indicating to me that we have any serious situation at this point. But this is why these are warned for. It gives you time to prepare in case we do see a tornado spin up, and that I think is going to be the bigger threat, tornadic wise. It's going to be more of a spin up situation rather than what we saw.
So we're going to continue to kind of monitor that there for a little while longer. But let me zoom in a little closer on this possible tornado, or this tornado warned sail with a possible tornado in it, because we're going to get a little closer here and try to take a look at velocity. I see some couplets just south of Barberville. This is kind of the area that they're most concerned about right here, kind of around the Knox-Whitley County line. And let me see if I can get the drawing tool to work here and draw just a little bit. Right here is a couplet that we're kind of concerned about. And then maybe just a little bit right here. I'm not sure that that's, let's switch over to velocity real fast and kind of see what that's showing for both those areas. Yeah, it's still broad rotation right there. So this is the area I think now of most concern right here. Would you agree with that, Evan?
Yeah, I would. Just seeing, and just to quickly explain what this means, basically the radar is seeing different particles of water, the rainfall in the storm. Based on how quickly the beam to the radar is being reflected back to it, it can tell how fast it's moving toward or away the radar beam. And I believe this is the radar at Morristown, not far from Knoxville. So the red is the wind going away from the radar site, the green going towards it, and you get those next to each other. It's called gate-to-gate shear. Each one of those little pixels is called a gate, and so gate-to-gate shear would indicate the potential for rotation in the thunderstorm, and if there is enough rotation and it looks strong enough, that is when the National Weather Service will consider issuing a tornado warning on that storm. At this point, not seeing anything that would indicate anything immediate at this moment. Continuing to keep an eye on that. I also want to point out that what we're looking about 3,500 feet up, so we're not seeing strong rotation that far up, and if we're not seeing it that strong that far up, doesn't mean it's not stronger toward the ground, but that's generally an indication that we may not be looking at something that is imminent, it is about to produce a tornado as it moves not far from portion or into southern Knox County.
Right, exactly. And this system is moving off pretty fast to the northeast, so it would not surprise me if like the southern tip of Barberville might get caught in this storm. So if you're in Barberville, go ahead and get into your safe spots. I think that's a prudent action. This is basically moving just south of Highway 11 there in Knox County, around 92 east there in Whitley County. So we're going to continue to watch that. Cameron, you got a new warning?
It's a severe thunderstorm warning. They're extending that out for portions of Bath, Estill, Jackson, Lee, Menifee, Morgan, Owsley, Powell, Rowan, and Wolf until 7:45 this morning. That is a severe thunderstorm capable of producing winds upwards of 60 miles per hour. And Brandon, I know we're kind of focused on that tornado warning, but that squall line that's coming into portions of Stanton and up towards Frenchburg, that is packing a punch on reflectivity.
So give me just a sec. Oh, I see that now. Yeah, let's go up here and take a look at this. Let me switch back to my radar with, because this is something we're going to really keep an eye on too. And right here, that's the area we're focusing on. Let me scoot just a bit to the south there, but
kinda
here's
see a
what he's
little bit
talking
of
about.
pink too, near Stanton.
Yeah, I see that. Let me get a little closer there so you can kind of see what we're looking at here. But yeah, so just a little bit of some bowing out this way. But there's the kind of the little kink he's talking about right there, just to the east of Stanton. So we're going to continue to kind of keep an eye on that for a little while longer. It's just a situation that is developing pretty quickly. But that rattle off those counties again there, Cameron, for me.
Do it now.
And at latest warning.
Yeah, it goes until 7:45 for Bath, Estill, Jackson, Lee, Menifee, Morgan, Owsley, Powell, Rowan, and Wolf. And this is for straight line winds upwards of 60 to maybe even 70 miles per hour.
So here's a look. Here's a look basically right now at warnings without radar, and you can see basically that entire western flank is lit up with warnings. So from all the way from Rowan County down into parts of the Cumberland Valley I-75 corridor, there's that tornado warning, which I think Whitley County will be let go of that tornado warning for too long because the bulk of that is moving into Knox County right now, but that goes until 7:15. Then we also have, that's another 5 minutes or so. They may change it out because there's already a severe thunderstorm warning in front of it with a tornado tag. Let me see if I can switch this back over here to this one and get it to work with all these active warnings. There we go. So basically, got just a few more minutes on that tornado warning for parts of Whitley and Knox counties until 7:15. But there was some pretty broad rotation showing up on radar. We'll show that to you again here in just a minute, and we're going to continue to track this. But this is a massive, massive line of storms, as Cameron mentioned. Evan, anything new on your end back there?
I have not seen anything new. Continuing to keep an eye on, just like what Cameron's also keeping an eye on from National Weather Service chat. And our director and chief engineer, Jason Sandlin, has actually pulled up behind on our big, the background here of our news set. We call it the monitor array, a shot of our Pikeville Medical Center camera. Now, Pikeville not currently in currently under the threat of anything. In fact, not even under the tornado watch at the moment. But that is a very orange sunrise we're seeing there as things begin to, as the sun begins to come up on this Saturday morning here. 7. So that is an incredible scene there, but so far so good. I haven't seen any reports of damage. I haven't seen any reports of, I haven't seen any indication from the Weather Service that that warning is going to be extended. So at this moment, we're looking okay, but we'll be keeping an eye on our various radar sources and would give us an indication of whether or not that warning is going to continue. And in fact, this storm is almost completely out of the warning. It's moving so fast.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to go back to that storm here in just a second and kind of get a closer view of that one because, of course, we're always concerned with tornadic warned storms first. But you're right. It's basically almost out of the area this morning. So we're going to continue to watch that for another 3 or 4 minutes to see what happens. That might be the update right there.
Yep.
So they are expiring that tornado warning for parts of Whitley and Knox counties, but we still have a massive area down there that has a tornado possible tag on a severe thunderstorm warning, and that goes until 7:30.
Yes.
Okay, till 7:30 for that. So I'm going to zoom out here a little bit since that, thankfully, that warning has expired. And Evan, you were talking about earlier that we hadn't had any reports of damage yet. That's probably because nobody's up yet.
That is
probably since it's so early in the morning. We don't have those reports coming in yet, and we still have a ways to go with this one because it's just now coming into parts of the Cumberland Valley, I-75 corridor. If I can get my graphic moved back out here. There we go. Get my radar zoomed out here. But all of this, let me switch back over to all the radars. There we go. So there it gives you the warnings and all that. But that tornado warning for parts of Whitley and Knox counties have expired. That was supposed to go for 2 more minutes, but that's been allowed to expire early. Of course, now we're tracking severe thunderstorm warnings across a big chunk of the area, including basically all the way through the I-75 corridor up toward I-64. So if you're living in those areas, and I'll zoom out here just a little bit, but I am concerned mostly about this area down here because I'm going to put the velocity back on and very broad rotation. But actually, Evan, I'm going to zoom in on something right here. You tell me what you think about that. That's some tight rotation in some spots. I'm going to circle them for you while you talk about it.
I do agree. Just to the east of the Wofford area, now that is not necessarily the fastest shear I've ever seen, but the potential is there and even near the Perkins area, deeper area of red combining with that green there. So this is why we always say, this is why the Weather Service tries to use tornado possible tags as often as they can, and not tornado warnings necessarily all of the time, unless it is a considerable threat, just because a lot of people see tornado warnings all the time. They may get complacent. They may say, oh, well, that happens all the time. It's kind of an indication of, you know, we need to watch this storm, and if tornado warning, we need to take immediate action. But in the case of tornado possible tags, which is what we're transitioning to, these tornadoes can spin up very quickly, even without warnings, in effect, tornado warnings. So that's why we say any thunderstorm can produce a tornado with little or no warning, and sometimes even between radar scans. So that's why we always say, even if you're under, we've been saying this tonight, even if you're not under a tornado warning, just a severe thunderstorm warning, treat it like a tornado warning, because the damage could very well be the same.
All right, so I just got a tip here, and thank you, Cameron, for letting me know that. A caller just called in, and I'm the only person they can hear on Facebook. So I'll try to go over as much as I can to get you in the know there. But, of course, on TV, Cameron and Evan are on too. But thank you for calling in and letting us know that about Facebook. So we're going to continue to watch that. But Evan's exactly right. He mentioned about how, you know, when we spot those areas of broad rotation, like we were just showing you just a few minutes ago, that the possibility for quick spin-ups are possible with that. So we're going to continue to kind of keep an eye on that for you. But in areas that have the possibility of tornado, anywhere you're seeing that rotation out there, tornado safety tips: get to the lowest level, preferably a basement, get into a closet, hallway, or bathroom away from windows, go to a hall or small room away from those windows to the lowest level, avoid large and open areas, abandoned vehicles and mobile homes, terrible places to be during a tornado if there is one. Now, again, these mobile homes are rated for pretty good stout straight line winds, but when you get a tornado involved, not a good situation there. And of course, if you can't find any reinforced building nearby, we're taking some power hits here at the station right now. Hope we can stay on. Lie flat in the ditch as a last resort. So we're going to go back to radar here, and I tell you what I'll do. And if we have anything that develops in the next little bit there, just jump in and kind of cut me off, because I want to try to do most of the talking, especially for our folks on Facebook, because I know there's quite a few both on the air or watching us on the air and on Facebook. But and then what I'll do for the folks on Facebook, I'll recap what Cameron and Evan says on TV. So we'll just do it that way until further notice. So you may hear me go quiet for just a minute, and they'll be talking, but you'll still be able to see radar, and we'll still be able to see what's going on. But just to recap for now, we have severe thunderstorm warnings out for a big chunk of our region. I think a new one maybe just came in. Is that a new warning, Cameron? Okay, so that's a warning down to our south there. So again, we're going to continue to watch. This whole area is under the gun. Let me get the drawing tool here. Didn't even think about people not being able to hear us on Facebook or hear Cameron and Evan. So that whole area right there, basically under the gun, and I'll show you that squall line coming through there in just a minute. But very serious situation developing this morning, of course, out to the west. We've already had significant tornadoes overnight. I do know right now the governor's news conference that he had at 5 a.m. is up on our Facebook or on our website, WYMT.com. And of course, for all of us watching, or all of you watching us on Facebook, looks like a warning just expired there, Cameron, for parts of just north of, or actually Laurel County and a couple of counties around it.
A severe thunderstorm warning with a sounds like we're having some rock.
Is your mic muted?
No, I'm not muted.
No. Oh, you're basically close to being out of range. But what Cameron was saying, to repeat for Facebook and for air, because they couldn't hear him, basically they've let this sector of the warning go for parts of Laurel and Jackson counties, but they are going to continue until 7:30 for the folks down south there in parts of southern Kentucky, all the way over toward Bell counties and over into, looks like Knox County just a little bit. So we're going to continue to watch that, and that's a tornado possible tag. New update here just coming in, potentially up to 100 dead now from the tornadoes in western Kentucky out there near Mayfield. So that's a very serious situation out that way. Thankfully, it's starting to die down some here in eastern Kentucky, but Evan, the threat still on the table.
That's right, and they can't hear me on Facebook right now, but we are still monitoring the 2 areas of severe thunderstorm warnings we have in effect from basically Moorhead down to Boonville right now, and then from Hyden all the way down to portions of, well, we were talking about it here, Clay, Knox, Bell, Leslie, Whitley, and eastern McCreary. And then we also have the severe thunderstorm warning just west of Campbell County in Scott County, Tennessee. So still watching several indications there of some heavier winds possible there as that continues to move in. Brandon?
Exactly. So to recap what Evan just said on air, I know kind of repeating for the folks on Facebook here that aren't able to hear Cameron and Evan here, but basically he was talking about, and I circled them there for you on radar, he's highlighting the areas still under the warnings for a little while longer up toward the I-64 corridor and just south and down into the Cumberland Valley there into parts of East Tennessee. And those go, I believe, both, and Cameron, correct if I'm wrong on this, I know that you're just talking now because the mic's almost out of range, but those both go till 7:30? Okay, those both go until 7:30 there, so about 10 more minutes on both these warnings unless they get extended. And I would not be surprised to see these extend further to the east, especially on this southern corridor and actually for the northern corridor too. So let's kind of recap and reset here as we approach 7:20. Brandon Robinson and Evan Hatter on Facebook and TV. Cameron Aaron is also here with us. Evan's not on Facebook, but I am. But we're going to continue to kind of keep an eye on these things. We were on Facebook earlier for a severe thunderstorm warning, and then that tornado warning came out for parts of Knox and Whitley counties. That has been allowed to expire. We have not had any damage reports just yet, as far as I know, but that doesn't mean there isn't any damage because of the simple fact most of these these storms that were capable of producing tornadoes came through in the overnight hours, and that means that people may not be up to survey the damage just yet. And hopefully we'll get those reports in as we get a little closer to the morning hours there. But as we were just showing you a while ago on the air, I know our viewers on Facebook didn't see it, but a kind of a beautiful sunrise over Pikeville right now, but they're getting ready to get on some action over that way as well. So, you know, the old saying that sometimes proves true, red skies and morning sailors take warning. So we'll see exactly how that plays out for us today, but we are still kind of wall to wall here for a few more minutes. We're just going to stay on both air and Facebook until about 7:30 and see what happens there, because I suspect, and I'm going to go back down to these southern cells here for just a minute, because I suspect this warning will get extended and it may be another severe with tornado possible tag. I'm going to look at velocity again here, and it looks like it started to kind of get a little bit more broad. So that's some good news there for that section. They may continue with a severe thunderstorm warning. They may let the tornado possible tag go. But the northern storms, and correct me if I'm wrong on this one, Cameron, do not have a tornado possible tag, right? The ones up to the north?
Yeah, no tornado possible tag.
Yeah, so the northern storms, no tornado possible tag, but they go till 7:45 up toward the I-64 Mountain Parkway corridor, and these storms down here do have a tornado possible tag, but it looks like they're weakening. The rotation has gotten less and less over the last few minutes, so we should be in a little bit better shape as we head into the latter parts of the morning. But we're not done by any means. These storms have proven that they can pack a punch and they can fire up quickly, and in areas ahead of it, let me see if I can pull up the temperatures right quick. Hold on just a minute. I'm try to find them here. Not sure where, but it was still earlier in the 60s and 70s ahead of this system. So we're going to continue to kind of keep an eye on that there. Dew points are still relatively kind of high there. Let's take a look at the temperatures right now.
Sorry about that, Brandon. I keep my shows in this. Still in the 60s and 70s to the areas that storms have not came through just yet. So we're going to keep an eye on that for a little while. Evan, you have anything to add real fast? Nothing so far, except that we're also seeing in areas where those storms have already moved through. Look at Somerset at 64, at 63 Monticello, and 61 in Lexington. So we're getting the cooling effect behind those storms, but that air, the speedy northwest winds haven't quite kicked in yet. To really cool us down, because we're in our daytime highs right now. I mean, Prestonsburg's at 70, as is Jacksboro, and a lot of us in the mid to upper 60s. What we're going to see heading into the afternoon, we're going to be back in the 40s. It's going to feel like it's 2 weeks from Christmas as we head into the afternoon hours, but first it's going to feel like it's 2 weeks from Easter with those strong to severe thunderstorms out there roaming around the mountains this morning.
Exactly. And just to recap for our Facebook viewers, like I said, we're both on air and on Facebook right now. I know our Facebook viewers can't hear Evan, but Evan was talking about the contrast between the temperatures to the west to the temperatures to the east. So like he said, we're near 70 right now in Prestonsburg and Jacksboro, but those northwest winds still trying to kick in out to the west. And as this front goes by, it's going to knock us back a few notches there into the 40s by late this afternoon, going into early in the evening. So we're going to continue to kind of keep an eye on that as we continue through the day tracking all of this. So again, coming up on 7:30, it's 7:24 right now. We'll go back to live pinpoint Doppler radar and give you an idea of what we're still looking at here across the board, and we'll continue to see a few things going on here. I do believe, and gentlemen, one of you correct me if I'm wrong, the next SPC update is at 9.
Let me double check you on that one. You'd think I'd know these by heart by now.
Yeah, exactly. But I believe it's at 9 today. I think day one's the next update at 9.
8.
8. Okay, so they're doing them quicker there this morning. So we're going to continue to kind of keep
And there it is.
Okay, new severe thunderstorm warning just coming in. That's for us, I think. Yeah, actually for Letcher County. But let's take you back down that way. And this goes until 8:15. 8:15 there this morning, so we're continuing to monitor that here for you. But new severe thunderstorm warning for, let me pull up my text here to see what it says, for parts of Letcher and Harlan counties now until 8:15. Let's see what the chat says here just for our folks on Facebook. Let's see here. At 7:24, severe thunderstorms are located along a line extending from Field to near Strunk. We're moving east at 65 miles per hour. So again, some pretty stout gusts still associated with these 60+ miles an hour, and locations could be impacted include Williamsburg, Barberville, Harlan, Pineville, and Middlesboro, along with Cumberland, Laurel, Everett's, Lynch, Benham, and Wallens Creek. So just to be aware of that. If you're kind of east of this band right here, you need to be kind of getting into your safe spot. Did they put the tornado possible tags, or just a regular severe thunderstorm? They did? Okay, so the tornado possible tag continues with that severe thunderstorm warning that just came out. It goes until 8:15 for those areas. So
I'm going to go ahead
and very
put
close eye on that.
Track on that
because
for
that
you
is
there,
a
Brandon.
stout line going through parts of those counties. Evan?
I was going to say I'm going to go ahead and put a track on that for you. Reset the speed to 65, and we will clear that.
So Evan, for Facebook, what Evan is doing is he's going to put a track on these storms so we can kind of give you a better idea of exactly when they're going to be in your communities. So we'll give him just a second to do that, and we'll talk about it.
Having a bit of an issue here. There we go. Maybe. All right. It's not wanting to cooperate with me, so, well.
Gotta love technology. It's giving us a little trouble this morning.
Accidentally tried to put a track on there for 6,565 miles an hour, which is, I mean, they're fast out there, but they're not.
Yeah, that's a little bit too
speedy.
fast, but yeah.
Go ahead, Brandon. I think I'm going to have a little bit of trouble with this one.
Okay. So we're still watching this line here, basically riding along 421 to the south into Harlan there, back over toward 119 going into Pineville there, 25A between Pineville and Barberville. You're seeing a little bit of relief in the action for now, but more storms out that way. We'll zoom a little further out. Let me clear this line off the radar. Actually, I'm gonna clear this line off, and I'm gonna let Evan see if he can get the track on there. Just a second, but Evan, you clear that line off there for me if you can.
I've been trying. I'm not sure what I'm missing here.
It may be locked up.
If that's the case, if it is locked up, I'm going to ask Jason to go ahead for those of us watching on TV, and Brandon, you can switch over to studio control once you see that over there on the Now desk, and I'll do things here with our other Max box, Max 1, and then we'll try to see if we can't get that restarted. And if you want to join us here in the studio, that might actually work out a little bit better depending on that. So a little bit of on the fly here at 7:30 on a Saturday morning as we keep an eye on that. I believe I've got the radar pulled up if Jason, our chief engineer, Jason Sandlin, can help us with that.
Yeah, if you want to go ahead and take the other weather computer.
And we'll try to restart Max 2 over here. But while Brandon does that, we're going to go ahead and keep an eye on these thunderstorms that are moving through portions of Knox and into Bell County. I'm going to go ahead and take off the the boxes there, not the banner, the boxes, there we go, and put a track on this as this moves off to the east at 65 miles per hour. And it's mainly it's actually this warning for 2 line segments. The big one here is going to be moving right through here. Actually, I'm not sure I have the correct time there. It's going to reset the spot. Just like a football referee, you got to reset the spot before the play can begin. So let's go ahead and switch that to 65 miles per hour and zoom on in to the region, into northern portions of Bell, far southern parts of Clay, eastern Knox, and into Harlan counties as well. So let's time that out there, 65 miles per hour, and push that off to the east, about 30 miles. So this is going to include Harlan at this point. Moselle by 7:34, same thing in Sailor. It's about 5 minutes from now. Loyal by 7:44, into Harlan here by 7:48, and off into Cumberland by 7:56. This particular line segment looks like it is going to bypass downtown Pineville to the north, but it's also this line segment to the south that we're going to keep an eye on, that is also warned back to the west for portions of into Knox, Whitley, and McCreary counties right now, and even into northern Campbell County, where we're now under a severe thunderstorm warning there. So basically, from Williamsburg on down to just past Jellicoe Mountain, we're all under that severe thunderstorm warning along I-75 right now into that area. Some of the strongest wind looks to be right in the middle of the Pine Knot community at this point in time in far southern McCreary County, right along US 27 at this hour. So we're going to continue to track that off to the east. Everything here moving 65 miles per hour. That is 65 miles per hour. I'm talking highway speed out here as we work through the morning hours here, as this warning continues for about another 45 minutes for the portions of, and I'll get the full list of counties here, for Harlan, for Bell, Knox, southern Leslie, southwestern Letcher, southeastern McCreary, Whitley, and southeastern Clay counties, and that will go until 8:15. We've got to clear this whole area before that warning can expire. And then we also have for northern parts of Campbell County, Tennessee, and that also has the tornado possible tag on it, and that runs again and also until 8:15. So again, in situations like this, you can run into a little bit of rotation. I'm going to actually take the scope and look at this here from the Morristown radar. Nothing jumping out at me as we go through this whole line. Now, it is a bit messy, like we've been talking about all morning. We're a little bit far away from the radar, which means we're going to have trouble seeing the lowest levels of these storms, and especially the further to the west that you go. So we're going to continue to watch that over the next little bit. So a severe thunderstorm warning in effect, and this isn't the only one that we have in effect right now. We're continuing to watch the one off to the north that takes in many counties right now. This, I'm going to make sure I have the full list here. This is for, let me see, I've got a whole list of warnings. I believe this is the one for Estill, Jackson, Lee, Menifee, Morgan, Owsley, Powell, Rowan, and Wolfe counties, and that runs for about another 15, a little less than 15 minutes now, as that pushes into the central portions of the area. Zooming back in, you see what we're dealing with right on top of St. Helens right now in Lee County, right on top of Campton. That's coming down the Mountain Parkway as we continue, right there, as that pushes into Wolfe County, and then western parts of Morgan County right now, west of West Liberty. West Liberty, you're next in line for this, as this continues to push off to the east, and now south and east of Moorhead as well. That'll be pushing shortly into portions of Elliott County. Elliott County, I don't believe, is under that warning, but may eventually go under a warning as that continues to push off to the east at this time, pushing into Morgan and eventually Elliott counties over toward the Sandy Hook community, as this whole line continues to barrel right down 460 at this hour in the northern part of the area at places like Hazel Green, down to eastern portions of Wolfe County, Campton, St. Helens, moving to the east of Beattyville at this point. The heaviest of the rain east of Beattyville towards St. Helens right now, and that will eventually be moving right on top of Jackson. So we may have some what we call attenuation issues with the radar once that gets towards the Jackson area. But our big focus right now continues to be this line of storms continues to be warned, not just for 60-mile-per-hour winds, not just for some small hail, but also the possibility of a quick spin-up tornado as we move through portions of, again, Bell, Clay, Harlan, Knox, Leslie, Letcher, McCreary, and Whitley counties. And that warning goes again for about another 40 minutes or so until 8:15 this morning. Meteorologist Cameron Aaron joining me here in the studio. I believe he's getting his battery set up there with his microphone.
We should be good to go. Do you hear
I think
me?
he's got, yep, he's back.
Awesome.
He's back again.
Good to go.
Which is good, which is a good sign there. So I've been looking at the National Weather Service chat. I haven't seen anything new. Has anything jumped out at you at this point that we may need to take a closer look at?
Other than those straight line winds, that's really the biggest threat I think we're looking at this morning across the mountains, especially I think that northern line up towards Estill. I think they're still in that warning up towards Morgan,
Yeah,
Menifee.
I'll pull that out.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's the strongest line we're looking at this morning. Just to the west of West Liberty, those gusty winds upwards of 60 miles per hour at times as that continues pushing off towards the east. And I'll look at reflectivity real quick also.
See
You
if
can
I
see
can
some
point that out here. I mean,
Okay.
it's fairly obvious. Okay, we're not set up that way. All right, no problem. We'll just continue behind the scenes here as we've been doing so far. But you see, that is a very intense line of storms there, and really not much in the way of lightning.
just some very heavy rainfall.
Very heavy rain, likely some very gusty winds
Yep.
as that pushes through Lee, Wolfe, and Morgan counties at this hour. We continue with our severe weather alert day coverage. We want to back on out, show you the full view here while we are continuing to get resituated here with a new, with a different version of our of pinpoint Doppler here. But we're watching two distinct areas this morning of severe weather, one from Moorhead down to places like Jackson and Boonville, and then further to the south, basically from Hayden on down through Whitley City at this point. And that southern warning includes Harlan, it includes Middlesboro, and it includes Pineville at this hour. In fact, Pineville about to get in on a little bit of action as well as we are moving forward into the next few minutes. Brandon Robinson joining us at this point in time. Brandon, have you seen anything that has jumped out at you?
Not in the last little bit, but I have been trying to get us back on Facebook there in the newsroom. We're continuing to stream our severe weather coverage on Facebook now, so you all should be good to go. It was muted for just a second, but we figured out the problem fairly quickly, and I think we're back in business now. But again, we're continuing to watch possibility for these systems that are impacting parts of the region there, down to the south especially. So we're going to continue to kind of see that for a little while longer. If we can pull up the weather wall, I'll point some things out there for you real fast, and we'll take a look and see what's going on. All right, so we're going to get that ready to go. But like we've been talking about, that southern cell is the one we're most concerned about, just because of the simple fact that it's showing some pretty stout characteristics, especially there into the Kentucky-Tennessee border. So we're continuing to watch that real closely. Let's throw velocity out for just a second, just to see kind of what's going on down that way. To see, again, that's so far from the radar, but Evan, look right there.
Zoom into Pine Knot area.
Yeah, it's just in the so far southeastern parts of McCreary County there. That's probably perhaps a little bit of a spin up trying to get going there. Let me rephrase that. The potential is there. I'm
Yeah,
not saying
exactly.
that's imminent, but that's something to keep an eye on. Basically, if you're driving from Pine Knot to Williamsburg over the next little bit, you're going to want to keep an eye on that there on 2792.
Try zooming in or circling those areas that we're concerned about right now.
Right, yes, and it's going to be several areas of concern. This is why the National Weather Service has put the tornado possible tag on it. Nothing jumps out as imminently about to produce a tornado, but there are several areas of interest in these particular storms that can develop quick little spin-ups that can touch down very quickly, do damage, and lift right back up. Brief but intense, like we've been talking about. We saw earlier this week into portions of Franklin and Scott counties in central Kentucky. More that mode than what we saw last night across West Kentucky.
Exactly. So we're continuing to monitor that. And as I mentioned just a while ago on Facebook and on the air, Governor Beshear now saying at least 100 people dead. The original number was 50. Now it's up to 100 So our thoughts and prayers go out to those folks out there in western Kentucky dealing with that situation. But as we've talked about, basically that right here is our areas of concern for the moment with rotation in parts of McCreary and Whitley counties this morning. So just be aware of that, and severe thunderstorm warnings continue to plague most of our region and will continue to do so for some time this morning, because we're going to deal with the possibility of that all the way probably through the morning. And here's the thing, these storms are on the outer edge of our area, so we're not even basically to the areas just yet in the far east. I know there's several things going on this morning, including the first LEGO League tournament over at East Perry here in Perry County. It's barely getting to our region just now. So again, I know registration was supposed to start right now. I was actually supposed to be over there, but of course weather comes first in this situation, and we've got this line down here. So if you're in areas in the Big Sandy, basically Martin County, Pike County, Letcher County for the most part, and then back over into some other counties, this main line has not gotten to you. But if you're in those areas in the Big Sandy, I would go ahead and get into your safe spot, because again, this is a stout line coming down there from basically that's parts of Lee and Owsley counties into Morgan County, and then back up all the way there. Even if there isn't a warning on any of these storms are going to pack a punch when it comes to wind and gusts and all that. So keep an eye on this system and continue to monitor it. But it's racing quickly toward Magoffin County, toward Painesville and Johnson County, toward Prestonsburg, Jackson, down in Breathitt County. Any updates?
Indeed. That's why I was going to apologize for moving the map there on you as you were pointing things out. But we was going to zoom in. We do have a new severe thunderstorm warning now for Breathitt, Elliott, Lee, Magoffin, Morgan, Owsley, Rowan, and Wolfe counties. So you were calling it there, and that goes until 8:15. Possibility for 60-mile-per-hour winds and small hail with that. No tornado possible on that, which is good news.
Yeah.
But I think this is going to be an intense straight-line wind threat as that moves right into downtown West Liberty.
Exactly, and of course, a lot of folks, even our GM asked me overnight, is this another March 2nd? And I told him no, and I don't think it is. I think this is more of a straight-line event, straight-line wind event, than it is a tornado threat, so we're going to continue to track that for you. But here's the thing. We talk about this all the time. Severe or straight-line winds with severe thunderstorms can be just as bad as tornadoes in some instances, because this is a situation where if you have winds that are blowing 60, 70 miles per hour, that's going to do almost as much damage as if a tornado would come through and ripped around your area. So we're going to continue to watch that for the next little bit here. But that severe thunderstorm warning there for all those counties Evan just mentioned until 8:15 this morning. So we're going to continue to see that be a factor for us. And let's zoom out there, Cameron. Cameron running radar for the moment now. Evan went to get a little bit of a drink there, but we're looking at, again, at that line to the south that we're still tracking there that has severe thunderstorm warnings on it. It's tornado possible tags all the way over toward Harlan County there and Letcher County as well this morning, southern parts. So we're talking about areas like Pine Mountain between Cumberland and Whitesburg. We're talking about areas basically from all the way through back into the Cumberland Valley there. And you see these storms, just a stout line continuing all the way down to the south there. So we're going to continue to watch that as well. But we're concerned about parts of Pine Knot and Whitley County there, or McCreary County there, and down toward Whitley County. And then we also have these warnings to our north there that could impact parts of the Big Sandy there in the next few minutes as well. So again, we're hoping this system, the worst parts of it are out of our area by mid to late morning this morning, but it's still racing across the region there this morning at Cameron, 65, 75 miles per hour?
Yep, 65, I think. Let me
Yeah,
double check that.
They have slowed down just a little bit, because at one point we had these storms moving to the northeast at 85 miles per hour.
55 now.
So it's still 85?
55.
55. So it's slowing down even more. That's not a great sign, because when the storm forward velocity starts to slow down and it's still hitting these warmer sectors over this way, that means more warnings are definitely possible as we head through this Saturday morning. So we're going to continue to watch that over the next little bit. We're also going to continue to watch the possibility for more warnings. Now let's go back down south there. It's kind of getting a little bit skewed now. We're switching over to a different radar. Let's see what we have down there for, again, the velocity. This is kind of the indication of rotating winds, okay, if you're just joining us and just kind of getting caught up here. The areas where the green and the red kind of meet, that's areas where we're seeing at least some rotation in the atmosphere. Does that mean a tornado every time? No, it doesn't. But it means the winds aloft up in the sky are rotating. So we're going to continue to watch that just a little bit. But you see several areas of concern there between McCreary County into Whitley County, and maybe even Cameron. I don't know. That's kind of broad over in Knox County, isn't it?
Near Barberville.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's still kind of broad there. Of course, we're kind of switching back for twin radars, but these areas down through here, at least we're seeing now, we're not saying this is tornadoes for the entire region, but we're saying that this is rotating winds up in the atmosphere, especially near Williamsburg this morning. So you're probably getting some pretty strong winds down there, and near Pine Knot as well this morning. So we have those severe thunderstorm warnings that continue for a while longer. The ones to the south have a tornado possible tag on it. The ones to the north, just our old garden variety severe thunderstorm warning. Okay, so those go for a little while longer. We'll step off here for just a second. Any updates?
I think we have started to clear counties from the watch.
Okay, yeah, looks like, well, it looks like Wayne County's out.
Looks like Wayne and Rowan County has been allowed to let go.
And then you're seeing the brown, that's a wind advisory that goes through later this afternoon. So the winds are still going to be stout even after the front passes.
So JKL is continuing the tornado watch for Elliott, Estill, Jackson, Laurel, Lee, McCreary, Menifee, Morgan, Owsley, Powell, Pulaski, Rockcastle, Whitley, and Wolf until 9 o'clock this morning. So looks like Wayne and Rowan County, like we mentioned, was allowed to expire. Okay,
so that's some good news for our northern and western neighbors out there this morning. So again, still tracking a stout line of storms, but here's the thing. Here's the thing I want to show you. Go back to the home view for just a second. Okay. Something I want to point out here on the broad view. Everything past basically this line, everything past that is just rain. Everything's calming down. It's windy, it's rain, but that's the leading edge of the cold front, okay, which will be through here later today. These areas right here that are warned, that's our areas of concern. Those are the ones that we're going to continue to monitor for a while longer, coming up on 15 minutes to 8 now, and we're going to continue to watch that for a little bit longer. So if you have not been impacted by this yet, it's coming your way. Okay, it may not be tornadoes for everybody. It may not be tornadoes for anybody. But if you are in this area, you're going to be seeing the strong winds. You're going to be seeing the heavy rain. Thankfully, these storms look like they're moving fast enough to keep us from getting any high water issues. There was the potential there for 1 to 3 inches of rain this weekend, actually today, for the most part, while this cold front passed, and then things will start to kind of die off a little bit. But again, once we get past today, much nicer. Pull up this severe risk, because we should be coming up on that, see if they've updated day 1.
It's like no changes yet.
We're sorry, we haven't seen any updates yet, but 8 o'clock is the next update on this outlook here. And of course, you still see a lot of slight, which is the yellow color. That's 2 out of 5 on the severe scale, and then all of us under some sort of severe risk today. But I do believe that threat will diminish here pretty soon, so we'll wait on this update, and hopefully that will be in soon. Evan?
Well, I was just going to say, I was looking at, I heard the Weather Service chat going, and nothing important. So,
okay.
But I just wanted to clarify, because I was having confusion over this myself. It's not on the screen there because we're using our Max 1. Max 2 has the other one. That is a flash flood warning for Scott County, Tennessee, just to our west. That is a flash flood warning.
I was
just
curious
to be sure
about that too.
Gotcha.
And then the tornado possible tag continues with the severe thunderstorm warning for Campbell County, Tennessee for another 30 minutes or so, as that storm has not even made it to Campbell County yet. That is still in Scott County, Tennessee. And then we're still watching the slowing progress at least, of that whole line of storms as it goes from portions of southern and southeastern McCreary County through Whitley County into Knox, far southern Clay, far southern Leslie, and eventually, one of these days, it's going to get into Harlan and Bell County. So you folks have plenty of warning into Harlan and Bell County, and even the far southern sliver there of Letcher County as well, included in that warning. That's why the Weather Service has these warnings so big. It really allows you to get that warning. You get the notification on your phone. You get the alert from the WYMT weather app, or you get the alert from the weather radio that much sooner, so you know to prepare as that storm continues to move through the area. It's on top of Williamsburg right now, but folks in Harlan, you know it's headed your way.
Exactly, and something we want to point out too, that's a very good point that Evan just made, is they warn ahead of time for these storms when they know they could be bad. And of course, people are sitting out there right now, I'm sure, thinking, oh, it's just a severe thunderstorm warning, it's no big deal. It is a big deal, because there's a tornado possible tag on it, and any of these storms at any time could spin off a quick tornado and cause a lot of trouble in your area. So this is why you have to pay real close attention to the line that Cameron is drawing here with the track. And basically these areas are going to be under the gun here in the next few minutes. Once those cities pop up, we'll tell you about them. So you got Saxton over in Whitley County by 8 o'clock. So that's just south of Williamsburg. You've also got La Follette over in Campbell County, Tennessee at 8:21. Middlesboro at 8:24. So these are the perfect times now. You've got time. It's 7:48 right now. You got plenty of time in most areas to get into a safe spot, to get into those areas and take your precautions. This is why we issue severe weather alert days. This is why we try to do it as early as we possibly can to give you as much warning as we can. So you should already have those essentials in place for those areas. And of course, it's going to continue to track off to the east. We're going to put a track on this one here, give you some ideas on when that will come through your community there to give you a better idea of who's going to be impacted and when. But that line is stout. This one does not have a tornado possible tag on it, but still, you might want to make sure you take those precautions. So Isonville, which is over in Elliott County at basically now, and then 8:09 is Paintsville, 8:13 is Louisa, 8:25 Inez, and 8:46 is Harts, and I believe that's over into southern West Virginia, over into Mingo or Wayne counties over there this morning. So just kind of keep that in mind as we head through. So again, any areas with any type of warning, you're still going to have the possibility for strong winds. You're still going to have the possibility for some spinning wind, I guess is the best way to put it. So a rotation in meteorological terms anyway, but we're still going to be dealing with that throughout the morning with this line of storms here and here to our south. So that's why we're continuing our coverage for now, because I guarantee you, once people start waking up and start getting out, we're going to get damage reports, because this has been a system that has killed 100 people at least in western Kentucky. Tornadoes coming to damage through Bowling Green, knocked our sister station off the air. WBKO out there for a while. Don't know if they're back up yet or not, but I know they're trying. But it's just, this is why after the March 2nd outbreak, we put generators in here at the station and at the tower. So we didn't take that chance, because if we'd been knocked off the air, that would have been game over at that point for folks who were getting warnings that way. So the tornado watch does continue until 9 o'clock for all the counties you see highlighted in red. That's basically Wayne County out and Rowan County out at this point, but everybody else from the I-75 and Lake Cumberland corridor up toward the I-64 Mountain Parkway corridor for a little while longer. But again, things seem to be starting to wind down just a little bit. But overall, we're still concerned, especially, I think this is becoming more a wind-based event than anything else. Do you agree, Evan?
I do, and this is typically what we see in, if I can use a big word here real quick, convective evolution. I felt good using that word, but basically, this started out last night, late yesterday evening into last night, as supercell thunderstorms. As we continue, as they moved off to the east, typically what happens is as they push off to the east, they will eventually form together into a line of storms. Now, that's not to say you can't have embedded supercells in a line of storms. That does happen, and we have seen it happen across parts of western and central Kentucky earlier. In fact, I don't think that it is wise to ignore some of these severe thunderstorm warnings, because some of these are based on potential and some of these are based on a mix of potential and history with these storms. These storms have caused, this system at least, tremendous amounts of damage across the state of Kentucky. Not necessarily in eastern Kentucky. We've been okay so far. Now, granted, folks are just now waking up. They may just be getting in to their morning routine here on this Saturday morning. But you see what we're talking about. I'm going to move over to the wall. You see what we're talking about. In fact, keep that zoom out shot for me real quick here, Cameron. I want to point out something. This whole line, that was one storm. Went from Jonesboro, Arkansas, through southeast Missouri, went up through, produced a strong tornado that hit downtown Mayfield, Kentucky, went up to the north and east, all the way toward the Louisville area, and last produced damage in Shelby County, Kentucky. I was actually on the phone with my parents who live in southwestern Franklin County talking about the storm that moved through Mayfield that got its start near Jonesboro, Arkansas. That's incredible in the spring, let alone in the middle of December. And that's not the only storm we had. Cameron drawing the line on there, more than 300 miles of distance covered by this one cell. This one cell. I'm not saying that that tornado was on the ground the entire time. More than likely it wasn't. The National Weather Service survey teams from the folks out in Memphis, out in Paducah, and out in Louisville will have the latest on that as we move forward in the coming days. Another supercell got going not far from Fort Campbell last night, produced tornadoes near Fort Campbell, then pushed on to the east and produced a tornado that likely hit Bowling Green, Kentucky very, very hard. You heard Brandon talking about our sister station, WBKO in Bowling Green. They were knocked off the air early this morning, and even produced another tornado not far from the Campbellsville area. So we really had those two cells, the one that moved up through West Kentucky, the one that moved up through South Central Kentucky, more damage produced by more cells across parts of the Nashville metro area and even farther north near the St. Louis metro area. It was a very, very busy night last night, busier than you normally see, even on active spring nights. It was one of the more remarkable events I've ever seen, not just because it occurred in December, but because it occurred at night in December. And
Evan, I do want to pass along that the National Weather Service has canceled the severe thunderstorm warning for Bell, Clay, Harlan, Leslie, and Letcher counties. So they have allowed that warning to expire, but they are continuing the severe thunderstorm warning for Knox, McCreary, and Whitley County, and that goes until 8:15 this morning. So about 15-ish more minutes, maybe 20 more minutes until that warning expires. And that's also a tornado possible tag on that storm, or that line of storms, I should say, that is rolling through the mountains this morning. So capable of producing upwards of 60-mile-per-hour winds. Also watching out for those spin-up tornadoes along that leading edge of that cold, or that squall line as it pushes off towards the east, upwards of 55 miles per hour. So the thing is racing off towards the east. So heads up if you're in Whitley County, McCreary County, and Knox County, over towards Bell County and Harlan County as well. You guys are not included in that severe thunderstorm warning just yet, but I do have a good feeling that that will be extended as we get later on into the morning hours.
That's right. We continue to watch that whole little segment, and actually, as a matter of fact, I'm going to run back over the wall real quick and kind of show you what I'm talking about, which is why these particular storms have those tornado possible tags on them. They get a little more ragged. They're outflow dominated, essentially. It's beginning to weaken a little bit. Hello, that's an interesting perspective right there. But you see what we're talking about right here. Notice how this line kind of breaks up a little bit. We've got one area, and then another area, then a little bit of a break, another area, and so on. These are these small little individual cells moving through Barberville right now. Doesn't mean they're going to produce a tornado. It means they have a slightly increased likelihood. We're not seeing that evident right now. Cameron can pull up velocity for us and show us. We're not seeing much in the way of what we call couplets or gate-to-gate shear. Well, we are seeing a little bit, actually. As a matter of fact, as we switch over to the storm relative, you see what we're talking about. This is common on the leading edge of storms. Doesn't always produce a tornado. They can produce what are called gustnados. Doesn't necessarily have to be a tornado to cause damage either. So even if it's just straight line winds, that'll continue to push off to the east. It's about right on top of Williamsburg as this continues to push down I-75. Let's zoom on out. We've talked about who is up next. Let's talk about who is in the clear for now. Jackson, it appears to have gapped you a little bit, maybe just to the north, looking okay right now. Further to the west, West Liberty, just showers right now. You had that intense line of storms push through. That's pushed into the eastern part of Morgan County. Right now, West Liberty in good shape. Moorhead, Frenchburg, into Campton, over towards Stanton. Thank you for that line. It really does help me out. Beattyville, Irvin, McKee, as we head into Boonville right now, into Mount Vernon, London, Corbin in good shape. Somerset, Pulaski County, and even into Wayne County finally beginning to finish things out. In fact, the tornado watch has already been canceled for Wayne and Rowan counties this morning. Cameron, you have some
news.
Day
1 outlook just came out, so here is fresh.
There we go.
Fresh off the table here. We got that marginal risk, mainly along and east of that line I just drawn for you guys. So if you're in London, over to Monticello, Somerset, you guys are finished with that severe weather threat today, and I would go out on a limb to say Jackson and Hazard as well, as that line is now pushing through that area. Now, a slight risk is still in place for portions of Bell County and southern Harlan County, also portions of Campbell and Claiborne County in Tennessee, but as that line continues pushing off towards the east, we are looking at that severe weather threat diminishing as that line pushes off towards the east, but still watching out for the possibility of a few stronger storms this morning as this squall line continues pushing off into the mountains this morning. Let's take a look at what we are dealing with. We have a severe thunderstorm warning for portions of This is McCreary, Whitley, and Knox counties, and that goes until, I think, 8:15. Yeah, so 8:15 this morning, 18 more minutes on this severe thunderstorm warning. This does include a tornado possible tag, as Evan just mentioned, mainly due to a spin-up possibility, but not looking to see a huge tornado threat with this based off of velocity. We are looking at a couple of areas of rotation, but not really looking at anything huge, mainly just a squall line with a straight line wind threat upwards of 50 to 60 miles per hour as this line pushes into your neck of the woods.
And we are continuing to watch that whole area. This isn't the only area we're watching. We're continuing to watch areas up to the north. You see right on top of downtown Williamsburg, likely some heavier rain at this moment pushing through. And we're going to continue to see that as we head over the next little bit or so as we watch that whole line move through. I believe both warnings go until 8:15. Is that correct?
I think so.
Yes, 8:15 for the southern warning and 8:15 for that northern warning. But here's the thing about the northern warning. That is pushing out of the warning box. That's pushing out of the polygon there into, it's going to very quickly be pushing into Lawrence County, into Johnson County, and points off to the east in the Big Sandy. So it's got most of Johnson County still to cross, all of Lawrence County still to cross, as that pushes off to the east, and that will include places over the next hour or so as we head toward Oil Springs here in the next 4 minutes, as we head toward Louisa by 8:16, into Clifford by 8:25, Sheridan 8:36, and Shamrock as we get closer to the 9 o'clock hour. If this does hold together, we've had slightly less, a little bit less in the way of dynamics into the Big Sandy so far. So that is the deal right now. 2 areas of severe thunderstorm warnings, including for portions in the southern part of the area. This includes Knox, McCreary, and Whitley counties. That goes for another 15 minutes, and as well into, let's see, Breathitt, Elliott, Lee, McGoffin, Morgan, Owsley, Rowan, and Wolfe counties, as that, though, continues to push out of the warning here shortly. You see that southern line. Trosper here in the next minute or so, Harlan in the next 20 minutes, TJ by 8:24, talking Middlesboro here in the next half hour or so, and Norton, Virginia, as we push toward the 9 o'clock hour. But so far, so good. We haven't seen any of those reports. As we cross the 8 o'clock hour here on WYMT TV in Hazard, watching a couple of strong lines of storms continue to push through with some severe weather possible as well.
Exactly, and we're going to continue to track this for a little while longer. Now, I will tell you this, if these severe thunderstorm warnings are reissued with no tornado possible tag, we will end our coverage, at least here online. We'll probably try to go back to Facebook here in a little while. We'll have to end the Facebook feed because I switched it over to the on-air source for a second, but we'll go back to Facebook. But I do think, and you boys can tell me if you disagree with this or not, I do think we're starting to diminish in the way of the possibility for tornadoes. I think it's getting better for that. I do think we could still see some wind damage this morning, especially with these stout lines here that's going back over toward the Kentucky and West Virginia border. And look at this line, just bowing out all the way down toward Scott County, Tennessee. So that's a factor that we're still going to continue to monitor very closely. Of course, the latest, I know our digital EP working on some things for our website right now, but the latest that we can tell you, at least, because I'm sure that number will go up, 100 dead as that tornado went through western Kentucky and the Mayfield community overnight. Bowling Green hit hard by tornadoes. Pull up the reports if you don't care there, Cameron, for that as we take a look at those. The storm reports for the last 24 hours see quite a few tornadoes all the way back out toward, as I heard Evan mention earlier, Jonesboro, Arkansas. I mean, just look at that line. Basically, tornado after tornado after tornado all the way up into parts of southern and south central Kentucky there. And again, a very catastrophic night. And of course, tornadoes are always worse at night because you don't know to prepare for them. You're asleep when they happen. So that's basically traveled more than 330 miles at this point and continues to travel through the mountains. So thankfully, the threat is starting to diminish at some point. But we are still seeing some flash flood warnings out toward our west there, back over toward Bowling Green and back out toward western Kentucky. But we're still focused on this line for just a few more minutes here until about 8:15, and hopefully we'll see that situation resolve itself pretty quickly, and we'll just go back to a regular severe thunderstorm warning, and we will end our coverage on air. But you see, again, not a whole lot of rotation showing up at this point. So we may have to end a little bit before 8:15, even with the tornado possible tag. But keeping you updated, keeping you informed in case there's anything. We have not had any damage reports from the National Weather Service office in either Morristown or Jackson, either one, because it's kind of moving through their areas right now, still just kind of getting into the Morristown coverage area, but Jackson has not put down anything. I know we had a flood advisory a little earlier. Here's our latest day one outlook from the Storm Prediction Center. The slight risk has been moved to where I expected it to be moved to, down to the south there, where they're still dealing with the severe weather. And then, of course, marginal risk for most of eastern and southern Kentucky. New update?
Yeah, they are continuing the severe thunderstorm warning for Breathitt, Elliott, Magoffin, and Morgan County until 8:15 this morning.
Okay. So
And they have dropped that for Lee, Owsley, Rowan, and Wolf. And we'll have to see what they do with Lawrence County there. Lawrence County falls under the jurisdiction of the National Weather Service in Charleston.
Yeah.
And so they fall technically under a different office there. But obviously all the Weather Service offices talk to each other, and I'm sure they've been talking about what to do with that as it moves into Lawrence and Johnson counties there over the next little bit.
I would not be surprised if they extend that warning further into Johnson County here for that southern end of that line right there, just because of the simple fact that it's still pretty stout on radar and not much on the way of velocity, even though it's a little closer to the radar. But again, we'll kind of keep an eye on that. I'm sure you can see a lot of lightning in that line, those little streaks there showing up on radar. But again, if you're in Louisa or if you're in Paintsville, areas to the west of both, be in your safe spot just in case, because you never know if a spin-up tornado could happen really quickly. This severe thunderstorm warning, which goes for another almost
10 minutes.
Yeah, about 10 minutes at least, is not a tornado tag. It's not a tornado possible tag. This is just a regular severe thunderstorm warning, but that still means 60+ mile-an-hour winds. So just kind of keep that in mind. Heavy rain, possibility for some hail. We've not seen a lot of hail with this storm system that's moved through, at least that I've seen in the overnight hours, but we continue to have that threat possible there, so we'll continue to watch this just for a few more minutes, especially that southern storm where we have that tornado possible tag until 8:15 as well. So we'll just kind of keep an eye on this. I do think overall the storm threat is finally starting to diminish just a little bit, but we'll have to continue to watch that for a little while longer. Velocity not showing a whole lot of rotation there in those counties to the south. So I tell you what, we probably need to stay on just a little bit longer, but I am going to go ahead and start to wrap our coverage up here on air because of the simple fact I think we're getting below the tornadic threshold limits, because we're not seeing anything on velocity. We're not seeing anything on radar really, except for maybe the possibility for some stronger winds. Update?
No, it's just a storm report out of western Kentucky.
Okay.
And it looks like the Weather Service, our friends up in Jackson, they've already issued a special weather statement moving forward for parts of Floyd, Johnson, Magoffin, and Martin counties to the east, with the possibility for 50-mile-per-hour winds. So I think the threat even there is diminishing somewhat with that line.
Exactly. So I think overall, I think our severe threat is continuing to die down. I don't think it's gone yet, but I think it's continuing to die down. Wind is still going to be a factor for a while today. That wind advisory goes until 3 o'clock this afternoon for most areas. We'll also have that tornado watch until 9 o'clock, but I would not be surprised to see them let that go within the next few minutes, I'd say, for most areas that are still included in that. And, of course, we have the possibility there for some pretty strong straight-line winds that could cause some damage as well. And I'm hoping these storms are moving just fast enough where we shouldn't see too many issues with flooding, but we've been seeing that out to the west, so we'll keep an eye on, keep you posted throughout the day. So, boys, if one of you wants to go back to the OTT desk, the Now desk, and stop the Facebook Live, we'll get ready to wrap up our coverage here. I'll give you time to get back there and do that because we want to make sure we conclude at the same time on both Facebook and on air. But we have appreciated you tuning in this morning. Again, if anything else happens, we'll come right back on. We're going to be here monitoring throughout the morning and kind of keeping an eye on things. But, of course, it's just one of those situations where we suspect at this point, I'm not going to say we think, we suspect that the most severe parts of this threat are dying down at this point. So we're going to go ahead and give you one more look at what's going on there.
They have allowed this warning to expire for Breathitt, Elliott, Magoffin, and Morgan. So this warning is no longer in effect.
Okay, so that's gone completely. So the southern end is the only thing we're worried about, and that just goes for a few more minutes anyway. Like we said, the wind advisory continues until 3 o'clock this afternoon for basically all of us. but we do think that the severe threat is dying at this point. Evan, I hope you're back there at the now desk, because I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up our coverage. We appreciate you tuning in, appreciate you putting your trust in us, and we will talk to you a little bit later on if needed.